What's up, everybody? Greg here, Beta Consulting Group, back live today for episode 193 of Standing Out. Let's go. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are doing great today. Trey Griggs, Beta Consulting Group. So excited to be here with you today for another episode of Standing Out. And we're going to be with you all week this week. So hopefully you were able to join us for all of the shows. We're going to have a great lineup ending on Friday with my good friend Michael Caney from Highway. Can't wait to have that conversation on Friday. As well as tomorrow, we got Sarah Ralphcorn on. So looking forward to all the shows this week. Make sure you join us here on LinkedIn Live, YouTube, or Facebook for every episode of Standing Out. Coming out of the Thanksgiving break, I didn't get to share this yesterday on our Rewind show with Jason Rabin, but certainly, hopefully you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you have a lot to be thankful for. For me, very thankful to have a great family and spend time with them, awesome church and community around me, great team members on our team at Beta Consulting Group, and awesome customers. And so just excited to take a moment to be thankful for that and to remember all of that and reflect on that. Also very thankful for our sponsor. I want to give a shout out to TAFS, the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping companies keep those wheels turning by providing discounts on fuel, tires, as well as cash flow resources and all that good stuff. So make sure you check them out, especially if you're behind the wheel of a truck. Check them out at tafs.com, and we will make sure you let them know that Trey sent you. Also want to have you check us out online when you get a chance. Go to betaconsultinggroup.com and see how we're helping companies move out of the realm of obscurity into becoming a well-known and trusted brand to grow revenue. We'd love to work with you. Fill out a form and we will follow up with you very quickly. So let's go ahead and get our show started today. Super excited to have this guy on the show. Got to meet him through a connection, folks. Listen, it's so important. We're going to talk about this today, the value of networking. So important to not skip the opportunity to meet with somebody and to be connected. So we're going to have a great show today. And we'll go ahead and bring him in. He's from Dickinson Equipment. So everybody, please welcome to the show, my friend, Eric Geyer.
What's
Eric,
up? What's
how are
up,
you, man? What's going on?
Good. I'm so excited to be here, man. I'm looking forward to connecting with some new people. Also, just man, hopefully getting some nuggets for people, even if it's just for myself. I'm excited about our time together today.
Yeah, good to have you on the show. Take 30 seconds real quick just to tell everybody a little about yourself and what you guys are doing at Dickinson Equipment.
Yeah, man. So primarily cover Texas and Oklahoma. We are in the trash-related business. I'm the Texas sales manager for Dixon Equipment. It's a family-run company out of Dallas, Texas. John Dixon started it in 1988, but he's been in the trash business since he was in 7th grade. And so he's had decades of great history around trash equipment. And so that's who we are. I live in Oklahoma, but I cover the state of Texas, slinging our wares and our products and trash related stuff to cities and municipalities.
Yeah, I love that. We're going to get into that a little bit more here in just a minute, but let's talk a little bit about how we got connected. And to me, this is the value of networking. I've got a good friend who's also a good friend of yours. So Chris Mayberry, the guy who does Tough Mudders with me, he's with Echo Global down in Dallas. And he's become a dear friend of mine, a brother in the faith. And he said, hey, you need to meet Eric Geyer. You need to have him on the show and talk to him. And so sure, I'll make love the introduction and the connection. And so we had the chance to get connected. But the fact that you and Chris are connected really is a product of one of your networking rules. I want you to talk
man,
about
I worked for a guy at Kenworth dealership that I was at that had a 5-foot rule, and his 5-foot rule was if you were within 5 feet of somebody, always acknowledge them, say hi, and it stuck with me, man. And I've kind of tweaked that a little bit. I call it a 5-3-1 rule, and so within 5 feet, they at least get a "what's up" head nod. Within 3 feet, there's a little bit more dialogue. I was with Chris at a coffee shop in Texas, and he happened to be within 1 foot. So it meant that I engaged him a little bit deeper. And I said, "Hey man, what's your favorite coffee?" And we started talking about coffee. And then that led to, "Hey man, do you mind sitting together?" We were in a pretty tight spot and shop, and started talking and sharing our hearts together. And come to find out, man, we had a very similar story, similar background. And I think we probably met another 10 times since then. We'll just call each other, "Hey man, going to be at the coffee shop. You want to meet up?" And so that led one connection to another. So I think we were talking how our kids are annoyed by that. But man, I just believe, be friendly. Open up your eyes. I wake up every morning just saying, hey, God, what is the opportunity for today? Who do you have that needs to, one, be loved on, and two, who am I to interact and engage with?
Yeah, who needs to be encouraged? I think it's a great thing, that you have, great habit that you're into. But I want to put you on the spot real quick. Has anybody not returned in kind? Has anybody just been like, I don't want to talk?
Absolutely, man. Probably the hardest thing for me to get through that is that, to me, is like chum in the water. So if I don't get engaged, I'm like, ooh, let's find this out. And I'm constantly having to check myself and be like, man, some people just have something going on and don't. And normally, honestly, what I do is I just begin to quietly, not out loud because it's creepy to people, but I just begin to pray for them. I just begin to say, God, whatever they're dealing with today, wherever they're at, that you would just meet them in whatever they're dealing with. I obviously don't say that out loud unless I feel called to do that.
That might be a little forward and a little strange.
Exactly. It gets kind of creepy, but yeah, man, all the time I'll have people look at me like, what in the world is this guy doing? But I just think, man, if we've got joy, if we're part of that people normally respond to it pretty well.
Well, I think it goes back to kindness and encouragement. Like, it doesn't cost you anything to be kind to people. It doesn't cost you anything to encourage people. But I will tell you this, if my wife was in line behind you and you started talking to her, she'd probably give you a little bit of the, we're complete opposites, in that regard. It's why whenever we do go hang out, that's why she likes the fact that I'll do the talking, and it works out pretty well in that regard. So
I do preface that I'm a little less conversational with the opposite gender, just because I don't want to come off as a creep. So there is a little bit more of a, hey, how's it going? Great. Good coffee, huh? Or something of that nature.
Well, the rule that I follow, which is not exactly the same rule that you have, but for me, it's I never pass up a meeting or an opportunity to meet somebody new, unless there's an emergency. But if there's a chance to meet someone new, especially if it's business related or community related, like near my church or in town, I try to take those meetings, which is obviously difficult to do because you can spend a lot of time, you can use a lot of time doing that. But to me, I found that some of those meetings have produced some of the best relationships that I have today. And it's just nice to be connected and know people, and have brought other relationships as well, other connections. So I think there's a lot to being friendly, being open to meeting new people, and just not being afraid to say hi or say a word of encouragement. So kudos to you on that. I'm gonna have to adopt that rule. It's a great rule.
Yeah, I just think that, man, one of the things that interacts with people, right, in our life is understanding really why or what we're about. And so I think, like, a lot of times, especially for me in my profession as a sales guy, we get so myopic focused in our task of the product that the widget or whatever we're doing, that we miss the opportunities of people around us because we're in public spaces or in restaurants or in the store, and they don't really engage with what I'm doing today in my day-to-day life. And we miss out on those opportunities to just build that connection. I mean, how crazy is it in all the coffee shops in Texas to be in line with a guy on a Tuesday morning that is in related industry to what I'm in? I mean, it's just, it's crazy, right? And so I just think that for sales guys, for you that are out there, for salespeople, don't waste that time. When you're in line at the Starbucks or wherever you go, be looking for those opportunities, not necessarily to benefit yourself, but to say, hey, man, I want to give. And this act of really give and take, there's a great opportunity there.
Yeah, you understand that, by being friendly and building relationships, that the benefit will eventually come. It could just be in the relationship, or it could be in a business opportunity, or it could be in a new friend, or whatever it might be. Those things are ultimately valuable. Let's transition for a minute and talk a little bit about sales. How did you get into sales?
Man, it starts a long time ago. My parents were missionaries. I grew up in Africa. They were medical missionaries. My parents went to build a hospital in Zaire, Central Africa. And so when we came back to the United States, I got injected into school about second grade, and I was just behind. It wasn't anything because of my parents or anything else. And very quickly, the school and through working through it, found out that I had a learning disability. And in my generation, if those of you are in your 40s, kids with disabilities or learning disabilities or dyslexia were basically like called out at the class. So when it was math time, they'd be like, okay, Eric, Jamie, and John, you guys go to your special class. And it was just embarrassing to me, man. I hated getting called out to go to those classes. And so what developed out of that was just this place of really understanding that if I served people and if I was engaging and humorous or loving or kind to people, that it diminished my embarrassment that I had in that. And so, man, for as long as I can remember, those who know me or that are maybe even on this watching it, in seventh grade, I carried a white briefcase to school and I would sell pencils and paper and stuff out of it. It's just been in me, man. It's been in me. And in Africa, I came back carrying a bushel of bananas. And those of you who've grown up in areas, these bananas aren't just 3 or 4 at a time. They're on these big bushels. And I came back carrying a bushel, and my dad was so mad. He was like, where in the world did you steal that bushel of bananas from? And marched me all the way back down to the market. And the ladies and the gentlemen at the market were telling him, no. He was giving rides on his bike, and we paid him in bananas. And so, man, for as long as I can remember, I've been doing some sort of sales or negotiation or working in that. And so spent 20 something years of my life building custom homes, and got to a place where I missed really doing the sales realm. And so that got opened up the door for me to work for Kenworth. So I went to work for MHC selling Kenworth trucks. And then that led to meeting Joe and John Dixon, who I currently work with. And they invited me to come on and be a part of their team. And so that's where I am now. So to answer your question, man, it's honestly been in me since I was a kid.
Yeah, so not necessarily door-to-door experience, but pretty close with the pencils, the paper, and bringing. Did you bring candy to school? What else did you bring?
Oh yeah, man. I was like, I'm sure the school didn't like it because I had blow pops and all kinds of stuff in there. But it just was so fun to me, man. I think it was just and we talk a little bit about it, but it's like, man, when things in your life that you feel are deficiencies or things that you may be embarrassed by, maybe it's your family or your history or culture, or whatever that is, man, those are opportunities to lean into them, to use them to see new opportunities and new ways to develop who you are and the character of who you are. I still have learning disabilities. I still have to reread emails 10, 12 times to make sure that I've written in the right there or however that looks to be able to get it right. I'm constantly looking at numbers to make sure that they're right. And I'm not giving somebody an amazing deal that's going to be a detriment to me.
Yeah, no, it's funny to hear you talk about, child of the 80s and 90s, those of us in our 40s like myself, because I'm pretty sure that I had some things that would be characterized as learning disabilities, potentially OCD and or ADHD, those types of things as well. It's funny now because my youngest daughter, we had her tested because she had a couple of just learning deficiencies. We wanted to learn more about that. So we got her tested, and the lady came back and said, so she has OCD. And we were like, OCD? Because, I'm thinking in my mind, like always putting things in their proper place, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which that's a part of it. But she has a form, and the lady said, like, if she can't do something until something else is completed, like if she can't put a dish in the dishwasher until it's already completely cleaned off, my wife looked at me and she goes, "Oh my gosh, that's you." Because I do the same thing. I can't put a dish in the dishwasher unless I've already rinsed it off completely, no food on it at all. I just can't do it. And my wife's like, "Oh my gosh." So I probably have some forms of OCD and other things as well, but they weren't diagnosed back then. And if you were a high performing kid, a lot of times they didn't catch them, or they didn't necessarily, wasn't a problem that they had to have a solution for, like a lot of times they do today. So pretty funny to hear you talk about that as well. So, all right, so let's talk about sales. What is it that you love about sales? What's your favorite thing when you think about, you wanted to get back into it with Kenworth trucks and now with Dickinson? What is it that just you love about that you had to get back into it?
Yeah, for me, man, for anybody that's out there that's in sales, I think, we hear these things on podcasts, we read them, we look at them, and it's know your why, right? I think that really is the antithesis for anybody that's in sales or moving a product is your why, and that ranges for a wide variety of people. Some people run the gamut of why that's important, and I think for me, I look at when we look at it, for me, my faith is really important. And I realize that this is an opportunity for me. The way that I sell, the way that I represent myself is not only a reflection on me or my company, but even greater, it's a reflection on the faith or the gospel that I believe in. Right. And so for me, it begins with that why. And I love people. I love serving people. I love seeing other people, other businesses, other individuals succeed in life. And so selling gives me that point, that opportunity to build a relationship that says, man, I, at the end of the day, want you to succeed, and begin to look at it. So it's an opportunity for me to really connect with the most amount of individuals to see that happen.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And, I share a lot of that in terms of what's important to me as well. And for me, it also went to the product because, I'm more of an educator kind of coach. That's my personality and what I did before I was a school teacher, before I got into sales. And so for me, from a sales perspective, there's a lot of, educating customers on a product that could help them out, but truly like providing a solution that makes their life better, which is what education and coaching is all about. You want to give information or give training or skills that are going to help somebody be better. So that kind of scratches that itch for me when it comes to sales. And that's why having a product that is really helpful and beneficial is so important to me, because I don't want to sell ice to Eskimos. Eskimos don't need ice. They can just, go outside and get ice. They don't need that. What do they actually need? What's going to actually make their life better? Do they need an ice pick? Do they need, what do they need? Do they need coats? Do they need first? What do they actually need that's going to help them be better? And that's how I think about sales, is how can I provide a solution that's going to make your life better, your work more profitable, whatever it is. That's the itch that gets scratched for me in sales. But it comes back to people, and wanting to help people either have a better life, a more productive life, more profitable, whatever it is. So I think that's important to know why you're in it, why you love doing that. So I share a lot of those that are in common. Let me ask you this question from a tactical perspective. What have you found to be really successful when it comes to sales? Like how do you work with a prospect to find success when it comes to helping them out?
Yeah, I think for me, man, is not rushing that process. To your point of what you just said, of really understanding the product or the widget or whatever that you have as a salesperson that you're taking to market, is to realize that what you ultimately believe as a company is that your product is a solution to help them get to where they need to be. But you only find that by really listening. I think sometimes we as sales guys, regardless of what it is, I know I feel the pressure sometimes when things are slow or things haven't been materializing as much as it is that you want to rush that process to get to the end result, to ultimately get a payday, right? To get a paycheck. And I think we lose out on that of the real beauty of what the process is. So for me, it's always reminding myself to slow down, to really listen, and to ask good qualifying questions to make sure that the product that I have is providing the adequate solution, not just a paycheck for me. Right.
Yeah. And it's so easy to fall into that trap.
Yes. I mean, I think so much of it is the hardest thing as a salesperson. If you are listening right now and you are at a place, maybe it's fourth quarter, it hasn't gone the way you want, you're already looking at first quarter of next year, is don't rush the process. Stop and slow down. Listen to what they're saying. I love this question. And I hope this is a nugget for somebody out there. The greatest question you can ask somebody is, tell me about your business. Tell me about what you're doing. Tell me more about it. Not just how can I fix this solution for you, but tell me more about it. Because in that discovery process, it does two things. One is it allows the consumer or the customer to engage with you in a deeper way, but it also allows you to hear and to process, maybe qualify even more, how much more I could help. But at the end of the day, it may also say, you know what? I don't know that my product is the best solution for you. I've had customers come back to me that I was honest with them and said, hey, the product we have currently is not the best solution for you. Here is what I think you need to do. And 6 months later, they call me and say, hey, man, we were kind of blown away by the way that you approached that. We want to hear about the product that you have and why, how we can maybe use the product you have, because you added so much value to us by trusting the process. And I just thought, man, we can't rush that. We can't rush the process. Slow down and listen to your customers or your prospect.
Yeah, and that can be challenging, especially when you might have sales quotas or expectations from a sales leader, certain targets that you have to hit. Because you feel like you need to hit them for performance or for a paycheck or for whatever it is. But I think for me, some of the greatest feedback or greatest coaching I've ever gotten in sales is anytime you're on a sales call with somebody. I mean, first of all, listening, that's huge. We can go on and on about that. But when that sales call is over, what's the goal? What do you want to come out of that? Obviously, people want sales, but most importantly, what you want is that the prospect knows what you do. They understand your product, your solution, your value. They know what it is. They have a good understanding of that, and that they like who you are. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times people want to do business with people that they like, and that's where you bring in the value, like you talked about, so that you can be liked. And if those two things happen, the sale might happen today, or it might happen 6 months from now, or it might happen a year from now. But eventually, more than likely, you're going to get that sale if the product fits, because they know what you do and they like who you are. And so, not rushing the process is a challenge because people want revenue today. But I think you're onto something there, especially when it comes to providing value in the process of how you do it. It's a fine line to walk.
I think that slowed down. Like for me, I know that regardless of how long I've been in it, and I'm 47 now, I've been selling, like we talked about, since young, and I still weekly go into sales processes nervous and anxious about the outcome. And what happens in that is that I speed it up even in my mind, even if the process isn't going, that I get to the end of it and I'm like, I get in my truck or I leave the office or leave the phone conversation. I'm like, what did I do? Like, I just ruined everything, right? Instead of, if we slow that process down, one of the things that I think is important for you salespeople that are out there is to take notes while you're on the phone, while you're in person, while you're doing that, is take the notes, because what that does to me is slows that process down. And I know before I get off the phone or off the face-to-face that I'm going to review with them what we talked about. Hey, this is what you talked about. Hey, this is it. Answer this a little bit more. Talk to me a little bit more about this. Define what you mean there. And that ultimately ends that process for me of really slowing down. And then the next big thing that I would encourage people that are in sales out there is follow up. How many times have you left and you just go, I bombed it. It's over. I'm never going to make a call. You can't afford to be that way.
Or just not being organized.
Yeah, you have to be willing to say 3 days later, 4 days later, whatever your sales cycle in your mind that you set up, you do that process. I still handwrite notes. I still have a contact I meet with. 1 week later, they will get a written note from me saying, hey, thank you for your time. Thank you for that phone call. Thank you for what you've done. I really appreciate it. I value your time. And then in that, I say, follow up. Hey, remember we talked about, we've got a phone call coming up, or I've got a quote coming to you, or whatever that is. And man, follow up with your potential clients.
Follow-up's huge. I do like the handwritten notes because people don't do it anymore. So it's a way to stand out. When I get a handwritten note, it stands out because you don't get those anymore. People don't typically write those. So being able to write a quick handwritten note of some sort, it's really, really valuable.
Yeah, I think I bought 100 of them for $29 off of Vistaprint, or whatever you use.
Totally worth
it.
Yep.
30 cents, and it's huge. I mean, it's not long. Hey, thank you for your time, whatever. But I'd encourage people to do that. I think it's a hipster thing to do in an old school way of doing it.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, I love that. All right, so we got to pause for a moment, Eric, because every day on the show, we like to celebrate whatever national day it is. Like, last week we had Thanksgiving and we got Christmas coming up and all that. So we're gonna celebrate today's national day. Do you know what today's national day is?
Gosh, man, I have no clue.
Well, today's national day is National Day of Giving. So it's interesting. It's the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving every year. And so it's the National Day of Giving. And let me ask you a question. Are you a good gift giver, or do you struggle with that? Like in terms of figuring out what people want and all that kind of thing?
I love love giving gifts. It is so much joy to me. Like, that is my love language. If I could just give gifts, those of
So
you
you
who
like
know
to
me,
receive them
maybe
as
that,
well. Like that's your love language is like gifts matter. Yeah.
oh
Okay.
man, I
That's cool.
love doing stuff.
Yeah.
Probably some people are like, what in the world? Why did he just bring me that? So, man, this is a great day. I need to write it down.
It is, man. I know, National Giving Day for you. And the Bible says it's better to give than to receive. We're trying to build that into our kids, because this is the time of year where they start putting together those lists for Christmas. And I said,
Yeah.
hey, have you asked anybody what they want? So when they give us our list, we're trying to say, hey, if you ask anybody what they want, what are you going to give to other people and that type of thing? So
That's awesome.
Hey, Joby says you're a next level gift giver. So, hey, Joby, thanks for watching the show.
Dude, I've got a nice leather bag from Joey Bishop. That was a good place because he gifted me an amazing bag that I still use all the time and get toads of credit on it. So
that's awesome. Talking about love languages, like that's not mine at all. Like gifts is a harder one for me. Like it's not that I don't like to give gifts. I don't think that way sometimes. So, like if I'm on a trip, a lot of times I don't think about buying something for my kids to come home, those types of stuff. Like my wife has to help me out with that a little bit. I'm more of a quality time and words of encouragement. That's mine. So, but it's National Day of Giving, everybody. So enjoy that. Go give somebody something today, even if it's just a word of encouragement. It can be very powerful. So very cool. Also, Eric, we celebrate the random question of the day, which, this question is really random. I don't even know what it is. I haven't seen it yet. We always let our podcast director, Ruth, she gets to pick this out every day. I'm not sure if it's going to be funny or if it's going to be serious or if it's going to be a really good question or, so. So let's check it out. Let's see what the random question of the day is today. Which of the 7 wonders of the world do you want to visit the most? Okay, well, first of all, we got a list of 7 wonders. I don't know if I know all 7.
No.
Do you know what some of them, like, I think Grand Canyon is one.
Yeah, in the Great Barrier Reef.
Great Barrier Reef is another one. I'm not sure what they are. Someone in the comments help us out.
Yeah, help us out.
Okay. Well, I
know Joby's probably been to 3 of them, and Chris has been to a few of them. So come on, man.
So somebody throws in the comments what those are. I've been to the Grand Canyon. Have you been to the Grand Canyon?
Yes, I have.
It's breathtaking, isn't it? I mean, it's massive. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. It's just hard to understand how big it is until you're there. It's just crazy. Gosh, the 7 one. Okay, Great Pyramid of Giza. Okay, here we go. Ruth's got us hooked up. So the pyramids. That makes sense. I have not been to those. That'd be fun. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the statue of Zeus at Olympia, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, Mausoleum at Colossus, Lighthouse. And Lighthouse at Alexandria. So Grand Canyon is not one of the great ones, 7 wonders of the world.
I don't know that Ruth is Wikipedia something wrong. Like I say we put if you have never been to the Mall of America, like that's gotta be 7 wonders of the world. Like,
we're gonna come up with our own.
Yeah, like have you ever been to Jerry's World in Dallas? Like
that's pretty impressive. So we got Mall of America, Jerry's World. We'll go with Grand Canyon. That's got to be in there.
Yeah. Let's make our own, man.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. One of the Gaylords has got to be in there, I'm sure. Those
definitely.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so if we're working off of Ruth's list, I'm going to say the pyramids because I've never been there. I've heard tremendous things about them. I still can't believe, I don't know how they were built. It's mind-boggling to me that ancient civilizations were able to build that. I mean, considering how heavy, like if somebody said today, hey, build a pyramid with these stones, I don't even know if I could figure it out. And I've got Google, I could work on, coming up with a pulley system and cranes and all that. I mean, I'm sure it'd be possible, but if I had the same tools that they had, how in the world? I don't know.
I've been to the Luxor in Vegas. Does that count?
Oh, okay. That's kind of a pyramid. Yeah, built a little differently. All right. Well, if you're watching the show, tell us which one that you'd like to go to, which 7 wonders of the world. And man, how bad that we don't know what those are. So learn something new.
Well, what I'm confused by though is if you look in the comment, it says new 7 wonders of the world.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Ruth, you're gonna have to help us out with this one.
Yeah,
we need more prep on this one.
You left us hanging on this deal.
That's all right. So Mall of America, everybody, get up there and check that out. One of the 7 wonders.
If you're in Texas, call me up and we'll get you to some cool places.
Jerry's World. A lot of good stuff in Texas for sure. Okay. All right. Well, Eric, hey, listen, man, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. It's just good to connect with you and meet you. Are you gonna be joining us for the Tough Mudders, by the way? You gonna jump in on this?
Man, I don't know that I will. I don't think I will. I shattered my collarbone and I'm still wimpy about it. So still working through that. And I like walking currently too much. And so I figure like a Tough Mudder, I'd be out for like three weeks. But I'll
Well,
let you guys do that
we
for
have
sure.
we have those that participate in the Tough Mudder, and then we have those that come to Tough Mudder Village and drink and encourage us. So
Okay. Well,
you could hang out in the
maybe.
village and just to be an encouragement. Be a
Where
part
is
of
it going to be at?
So we do 4 of them a year. So one's in Texas, one's at Granbury, which I'm not sure where it's going to be next year. We do the Dallas one. We do one in St. Louis. We're looking to do one in Pittsburgh this year and possibly one in Miami this year. So we got a team we're raising money for: Jason Rabin, Hayden Allred, Chris Mayberry, the Packets, John and Raquel Packets, Diana Guzman, Greg Roberts. We got a great team. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. So, okay, so we've got some different ones here. I've got to say there's some controversy on the 7 Wonders of the World. So Don's got his whole list here of some different things. So there's some discrepancy here on the 7 Wonders. We're going to have to come back and maybe correct this tomorrow. I don't know.
I would trust Don. Don, good seeing you on, man. I miss seeing and hanging with you. So that is one sharp dude. So if you guys need to connect with a great guy, Don is your guy. So hit him up on LinkedIn, man. He is a genius. So I would trust what he's got going on.
Yeah, thanks for watching the show. Well, with Don's list, I'm going to say the Great Wall of China or Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. Those 2 would be on the top of my list.
Christ the Redeemer for sure.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I've heard tremendous things about that. So, all right. Well, anyways, we'll get it all straightened out from the 7 Wonders of the World. But Eric, thanks so much for being on the show today. Really appreciate you being here. And for those of you that were on the show or that are watching the show, make sure you come back tomorrow. We're going to have a great conversation with Sarah Ruffhorn of Trinity Logistics. Looking forward to that conversation tomorrow. And until then, you can catch up on every episode on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. Eric, thanks so much for being here, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.